Hello, and welcome to episode 170 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. Going to be hacking on some Firefoxy stuff today. It's going to be a great time. I'm so glad you're here. Hi. Let's get into it. Let's get started. Let's see what's going on. Here's my screen. Let me pull up the agenda. Right, so as I said, whoa, what's this tooltip doing here? Is that a little leftover tooltip? Yeah. As I was mentioning, this is episode 170. If you are a newcomer to the show, welcome. I want you to know that, hey, reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I kind of have the sense of what I want to do today, but things might go horribly wrong. I might get distracted. I might get stuck. I might not solve the problem. I'm just going to try and capture work in the raw as I go about trying to solve a particular type of problem. And who knows, I might succeed or I might fail, or somewhere in between. That's not unexpected and not unusual for this stream. And for the people who've watched this stream before, that's pretty typical. They've probably, the people who've been watching me this whole time, I think I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. I think I've run the gamut from like cranking out bug fixes to just stuck in the mud, and everything in between, or just out in the weeds. So we've seen everything. Let's see how we do today. Before we go in, I also want to mention that the agenda that we're looking at is something you have access to. If you're watching this on Mozilla, check out the additional handouts section over here. If you're watching this on YouTube, down below in the additional links, or video description, I should say. And if you're watching this on Twitch, then I'm about to drop the link into the Twitch chat. Here I go. Twitch chat. Ba-bwam. Yeah, there's the agenda. So for the people who are watching in Twitch, Hattie Zero, Nuffly, and Okris, Okris has made an excellent joke thinking I was a bot because he summoned the agenda because they saw it coming. They knew that I was about to produce the agenda. Well done, Okris. You nailed it. If you are watching in Twitch, there's the agenda. Check it out. Check out the agenda in those other places, YouTube, Mozilla, and whatnot. And you can click on the links and kind of get a sense of what's going on. You can also find this link to rate this episode and let me know what you thought of it. Give me feedback. What can I do better? That sort of thing. One of the things you may notice is that the sounds today are a little more in sync. Like last week, the sound effects that I play, like... That's right! We're a little out of sync. That has been corrected, but the audio quality is probably not as good. It might be a little quieter. Let me know if you prefer that to what was going on last week, where it's louder, it's more stereoscopic, or it's more of like a stereo sound, but it was slightly out of sync. Do let me know. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, in which case let me know that too. There's an episode guide. I'm not going to burn too much time talking about it, but it is lovingly maintained by viewers like Smurf D, who sends a pull request almost every week with updates, and you should check out the episode guide if you're curious about what each episode contains, the sorts of things I cover, and send me your own notes if you've got addenda, corrections, you want to flesh out what went on in that episode. Send me a pull request. And if you're not sure what that means, there are links here in the agenda that will tell you how to contribute, how to send a pull request, where is the repository, all those things. There's a handy dandy contributing guide, and it's quite well done. So thank you to Smurf D, who maintains that for the most part, and any other viewers who have sent patches, and give it a read. Check it out. Okay, so first of all, is everything working? Am I recording? Yes. Am I streaming? Yes. Am I dropping frames? No. All is well. Let's carry on. I want to give a quick update on something that we reviewed last week. We reviewed, we were investigating a test failure. And actually, we got somewhere. We figured out what was going wrong late in the episode last week, and why there was this test failure whenever we were testing opening view source in a new window. And I supplied that feedback to the person working on the bug, and they took my feedback and they made a correction, and the patch actually landed yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was somewhere in between there. And so now if you're in Nightly and you go to About Config, And let me pump up the font a little bit here. And if you go to view source, there's this pref here, view source.tab, and it's defaulted to true, and defaults to true, but if you set that to false, and you go to some tab here and you go to view source, where you can do that, I think, from tools, web developer, page source. Also on Windows, it's Control U. On Mac, it's Command U. But that now opens source in a new window, which opened on my other display, but it's over here. And normally that would have opened in a tab by default. See, for some reason it's opening over on this display. But normally it would open in its own tab, but now it's opening in a new window. And that was from a volunteer contributor. See, this is the normal behavior. You get the view source showing up in a tab. So thank you so much for the contributor who worked on that. And thank you, viewers, who watched and helped me sort through the test failure that was preventing that from landing. So what do I want to work on today? Well, some of you may or may not know that I've been working on this new feature for Firefox called Picture-in-Picture. This is something that Safari shipped in 2016. Chromium followed that up, I think, in 2018, and we're hoping to have a similar feature release in 2019. And let me show you kind of how it works. First of all, some of it's already in Nightly, but it's mostly disabled. It's completely disabled behind this pref media.videocontrols.picture-in-picture.enabled. So if you were to set that to true in Nightly, then you can sort of test this stuff out. And one of the things that it does, for example, is it adds an item to the context menu of videos that allows you to pop out a video into a picture-in-picture display like this. So now this window is floating on top. Now on Windows, it stays fully on top. Like, it will never go behind. On Mac OS, we haven't actually implemented that part, so it actually goes behind other windows, which is less good for picture-in-picture. But for the purposes of today's bug that I want to work on, it should be fine. Nuffly in the Twitch chat has a question. Is Firefox open source? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Firefox is completely open source. If you are curious, you can look at the source at hg.mozilla.org/mozilla-central. I'll actually put a link to the source repository viewer right there in the Twitch chat. So if you were to go to like files here, you can view all of the files inside of Firefox. This is what we use to build it, modulo things like API keys, which are held separately, but that and like signing stuff. But everything that makes Firefox is in that open source repository. So what do I want to do today? Well, I want to show you the bug that I'm dealing with. And probably the easiest way to demonstrate this bug is actually with the HTML video demo page that W3 Schools, believe it or not, supplies. And so here's the bug. If I'm watching this Big Buck Bunny video here, which I've been doing a lot of lately, and I go into picture-in-picture, that's fine. I've got picture-in-picture displayed here, and I've got this nice message. And to prevent it from going behind, I'm just going to move this to the side here so we can still see it. So I can control the video, I can pause it, that sort of thing. But if I go down to this second instance of the video down here, and I right-click and I choose picture-in-picture, the window goes away, and the original video still has the message on it. So something's gone wrong. And I can make this go away by respawning picture-in-picture and then closing it again, so it's recoverable. But that is definitely not the expected user experience. The expected user experience is this video should open up in picture-in-picture. Even though it's the same video, it doesn't matter. It should open up where it's at in the picture-in-picture window, and then the one up here should exit picture-in-picture. That is the expected behavior. So that's what I want to work on today. And to do that, let me first actually check out a patch here that I wrote that actually runs a test and fails. So we have a test case, and we can run this test case and see it. In the meantime, while that's building, that hopefully it shouldn't take too long, because I think it's just adding a test, and this other stuff on here shouldn't be adding, I think, too much in the way of binary changes. I think the only binary change was this one, so that should be okay. But we can hypothesize. So let us hypothesize and try and figure out what's going wrong. So picture-in-picture child is one part of the puzzle. That's the code that runs inside the content process that receives the event that says, hey, this video wants to be shown in picture-in-picture mode. And so let's walk through what happens. Well, we receive the event here, and then we call this function toggle picture in picture. And then we check to see if we are in picture in picture. And if we are, we close, we first close the, hold on a second. Toggle picture in picture. So so the event target is the video in this case. So the event is trusted. We say toggle picture in picture with the video. The second video is not in picture mode. And that's what in picture tests to see whether or not the video is the one that's in picture mode. So we should fail this condition, and instead we should go to here, request picture in picture, where we will get a reference to the video. And then, oh, I know what's going wrong. I already think I know what's going wrong. I already think I know what's going wrong. So we have this global reference, g_weak video, which is a weak reference to the video that requested picture in picture. And what's happening here is if we've got a picture in picture window already open, then when we request picture in picture, we're actually overwriting g_weak video with a new weak reference. And I'll bet I know what happens. I'll bet what happens is in picture, which is the part in the parent that receives the message to open picture in picture. Handle picture in picture request is called. The first thing it will do is make sure that if there's a pre-existing picture in picture window that we close it. And that, okay, that's going to cause this code to run in the child, because the picture in picture window unloads, and what it does is it gets at the weak video, which at this point in our test case has actually been overwritten here. And we say stop cloning element visually, and it goes away. So like we actually end up not. Now why isn't the video opened again? Because we clear g_weak video. We clear it here as soon as there's an ordering problem. Here's the problem. There's an ordering problem. Let me write this down. And you can actually follow along as I write this down. There's some notes here that I linked to in the agenda, so you can. So there's an ordering problem. Okay, let me pump up the font. There's an ordering problem here. When we request pip when there's already pip on a different video, on a new video, when there's already pip. Okay, when we request pip on video, let's give it some naming. Video B, when there's already pip on video A, we overwrite g_weak video with video B. Parent process receives message to open pip, attempts to close pre-existing pip window. Child receives message that pip window closed, and then clears g_weak video, which by this time isn't video B or video A anymore, but is video B. By the time that setup player in the content process is running for video B, g_weak video is null, and it bails out right here. And it will also attempt to close the picture in picture window, but in that case there will be no picture in picture window because it's already closed. So that's the problem. I think that's the problem anyways. So we have a test case here and we can run it. Let me pump up the font again. That's nice. You know, upon inspection, we saw it. Toolkit, components, picture in picture test, browser request. Pip. So yeah, the other thing is I've started to add tests for picture-in-picture, which is very handy. Makes me feel good. Right, so the test has reproduced the issue and it fails because it times out waiting for the other video to be in picture-in-picture mode. Okay, so let's see, what's the right solution to this problem? Let's see. Else. I think what we should probably do is we can rely on message ordering maybe. So what that would mean is we send a request from the child before requesting the new picture-in-picture window to, we'll say if gweek video and I'm going to actually add a utility get week video return if week video fg week video and return g week video dot get. Okay. Turn this dot week video. Okay, so I'm going to say else if this dot week video equals is not, if there is a week video, we're going to close it. Close picture-in-picture. That alone might do the trick. Let's see what happens whenever I run the test. Because what it's going to do is it's going to send a message first before trying to re-request picture-in-picture and having the parent close the picture-in-picture window, is it's going to, oh no, that still failed. gweek video is null in line 76 here. We're going to close picture-in-picture. Let's add some logging. There's a pre-existing video in pip, closing it. Now requesting pip, and then down here let video equal this dot week video. If this dot week video, this dot week video, stop cloning. And then over here, if not this dot week video, wait. Why is there, if there's no week video? Why would we close picture-in-picture here? What's the story behind that? Picture-in-picture child. Is that just a remnant of an old If there's no weak video, then we close picture-in-picture. We should probably return here if there's no weak video. Close picture-in-picture. Maybe this should just be a return instead of a close. And maybe what we should do is, if not this dot weak video, we should return this dot weak video. And isn't that just testing the same thing? There's no originating. I think we can probably just collapse this. Equals this dot weak video. If there's no weak video, we'll close. Why not? Let's close and return. Let's see what that, let's keep that for now. I can't see there being too, like, if for some reason the original, if we've been asked to set up the video picture-in-picture, and after the round trip of the message the video element goes away, right, we should tell the parent, hey, close that thing you just opened. Okay, that makes sense. And then don't do any of this stuff. Video's still loading. Wait for it to load. Wait for the originating window. If it unloads, then we close picture-in-picture. And then if the picture-in-picture window closes, reset. Okay, so now let's add some logging. Pip window is closing. There was a weak video stopping clone. Clearing weak video. My folks on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, how's the video stream quality? I was worried. I'm a little bit worried about like stuttering, and because I noticed when I first connected, it was complaining about frames, number of frames. Okay, so let's take a look at the log here. Start. So requesting picture-in-picture, got picture-in-picture window. There's a pre-existing picture-in-picture window. Closing it. Now requesting picture-in-picture. Picture-in-picture window is closing. Request picture-in-picture window. So close picture-in-picture is asynchronous. Close picture-in-picture is asynchronous. That's the problem. We have to kind of wait for the old one to go away because that's when it clears the weak video. On unload. Removed barcode links. Spam's terminal with Boris set null animatable message. Found it. So Akris found this interesting in the Twitch chat. Found this like spamming the error message to standard error. This thing landed day before yesterday from Boris. Boris set null animatable. So that's supposed to be in there. Drop the redundant animation debug log 17 hours ago. Right, so it sounds like that spam message, a fix to remove it, landed in inbound 17 hours ago. That should be merged to central and be in tomorrow's nightly soon. So don't worry about it, Ocris. It's going away. So what started out as something kind of easy, as like we've identified the problem. Now it's a matter of figuring out the appropriate solution. And this ordering problem isn't just, it's not good enough to just message the parent to close the pip window first. I think in order to retain sanity, we need to wait until the old pip window has closed before we can properly handle a new one. So how would we do that? Well, one thing you can do, or one thing we can do, how do we do this? How do we solve this? One idea. Let me just spam out some ideas here. Make it so that closing the picture-in-picture window is an asynchronous function that not only sends the message to close the window, but only resolves its returned promise when the unload event has been fired in the original window. Anything else? Okay, crazy idea. Don't actually, in the case where there's a pre-existing picture-in-picture window, don't actually close it. Keep it open, resize it if necessary, and point its remote browser at the new originating tab. That has a number of problems. Problems with this. Nope. We have to add complexity for potentially swapping the process that the remote browser is running in. I have a feeling that this problem isn't actually a problem whenever the two tabs are in different processes. Like if I do picture-in-picture here from this tab, which is running in content process 47832, and then let's go to YouTube for a second here, and let's open up some video. This wisecrack video, and it has some advertisement for a car commercial. Now if I go picture-in-picture from there, that works properly. And it cleared the old one, and that's because they run in a separate process, and so they have two individual copies of GWeek video. So that's why that works. It's just when they're in the same content process that ordering matters, because we have to wait for this like round trip series of messages to tear things down before we start overwriting variables. This is like kind of like a data race, really. I mean, it's not a data race in that it's not like memory being overwritten between threads. It's not dangerous like that, but it is a similar problem because it's data being overwritten. The gweek video variable is being overwritten whenever the two processes are kind of out of sync. Like one process is in the middle of doing something and will send a message back to the original process to perform some operation where it expects gweek video to be pointing at the old one, the old video. So what do we do? We can also have var gweek pip window. And that points to the content, pip content. Maybe it's player content. And maybe what we'll do there is let's try this thing. Toggle picture in picture. Let's make this asynchronous. That's okay. But what I'll do is I'll make it so that we can if there's a weak video, we're going to await closing the picture-in-picture window. So we're going to make this async. Gweek player content week player content this week player content add event listener unload await new promise. Unload resolve once. We'll wait for the weak player content to go away. Close picture in picture. The originating window goes away. I don't think that has to await. I'll just throw away the promise. Weak player content. weak player content still be around? Even after it's unloaded. Let me just check here. Load event. Fire page high notification. Well, let's see where this goes. Get weak player content. G weak player content. Return G weak player content. Get. Otherwise return null. G weak player content. We're gonna say originating window. CU to get weak reference originating window. And then I'll do that after. Okay. So this is going to wait for the unload event when we toggle here, and then it will request a new one. So let me add some logging just to see how this is going to work. Asked to toggle picture pip, I'll say. We already have a weak video. Waiting for pip window to close first. Pip window has closed. I'm also going to update the test to make it so that triggering pip on second video, so that we know where the most important part is. All right, run it. Are you sure close picture in picture resets weak video to null? Good question. Let's check that in a sec. Are you sure close picture in picture resets weak video to null? It doesn't directly. What it does is it tells the parent to close the window, and then in the unload event handler for the window that fires whenever the window's content unloads and having gone away, that's when weak video is cleared. So we waited there for a second, and it wasn't clear why. Let me run that again and see where we got to. Actually, is there anything already in the log? Pip, there was a weak video stopping clone, clearing weak video. Pip window is closing. So I never saw pip window. Oh, pip window has closed is right here. Let's see what. There was a weak video. Pip window is closing. But we never got the pip window is closed. Pip window has closed there whenever I close the tab. Pip window has closed. Did I attach the event listener to the wrong thing? Oh, originating window. No, I don't want the originating window. I want the player window. That's this dot content. Yeah, right here. Maybe after I set that event listener. So not the tab, but the player. Okay, and that works. Now, where is there room for failure? Part of me wants to be like, woo, we did it, except I want to sort of step back here and see where there might be, like, because we're making things more asynchronous here, which is good, except that it means that subtle bugs can also, you're also using originating video in unload handler. Originating video in the unload handler. That's whenever the originating window goes away, then we close picture in picture. That's if the originating, the tab that has the video in it goes away. That's when I use it here. Is that what you're referring to, Akris? Because yeah, I use it there, but that's okay. I'm holding a reference to it here. I get a reference to it here. So is there, I don't see the problem. Maybe help me see the problem here. If that's okay. Okay. All right. So that appears to have solved the issue in the test. Let's test it out IRL, and then let's think about some places where this might burn us. Whoa, a little janky there. All right, so we're gonna bring up picture in picture there, bring up picture in picture here. How about over here? Yep, that's all good. Play. Let me loop that for a while. Mute it as well. And so that's gonna play, and now picture in picture, play, and mute it. And then I'll go back to this one. All good. Any messages in the console, just some logging. And then there are some errors on shutdown about the dock shell being null. Line 59. Unload. Oh, I see. So we never remove this event listener. We say only ever fire it once, but we never remove it. Originating window. Video. So when we close the picture-in-picture window, we should probably remove these event listeners as well. We should clean up. That'd probably be a good idea. Okay, so let me take some notes here. So I went with this route. So I'm going to strike through this one. Don't need that anymore. I went with route 1. And that appears to have fixed the problem. So follow-up work or additional work. Make sure that we remove event listeners on the originating content when the pip window closes. So like I wonder if all of the sort of unload event handlers should happen in the same place. Like we've got one here. This one is expected to be short-lived. The weak player content, but in the originating window. Weak videos, no. So we've been asked to close. Basically, we've got two directions where this can occur. It's like the user can close the tab, or sorry, the user can initiate the closing of the picture-in-picture window. They can just like right-click and choose close because it's a normal type of window. And that's handled by this unload event listener. And then there's we actually request the closing of the window because we're toggling or something. So we send a message to the parent to do the close ourselves. So one's coming from Gecko, one's coming from the operating system. And this one handles both. And this one's only ever set whenever we have, we as Gecko and the Firefox code was the one that requested that the window close. So I actually think that this distinction between the two is important, although I do think this should be cleaned up, these unloads. The other thing I want to do before I get too far along, let me just quickly run the other tests to make sure I didn't break anything else while I fix this thing. Okay, so that's good. Now, I want to think through some of the things that could go wrong here. What are things that can go wrong? What is gweak? Do we ever set that to null? It doesn't look like it. And maybe we should, after weak player content is null. Just really avoiding holding a reference to it. Maybe that's not necessary at all, actually. Videos, no, of the content. Stop cloning element visually. I actually probably can just get rid of that because the only reason it would ever be reread is if something else was holding a reference to it, which should never be the case. Maybe I should put back. Nothing should be holding a reference to the picture-in-picture player window content at this point, but just in case, we'll clear the weak reference directly. There's a pre-existing picture-in-picture window for this content process for a video in this content process. Send a message to the parent to close the picture-in-picture window. And then request a new one. And then this stuff down here. Add an event listener. On the originating window. So what we should do maybe is this, like this dot track originating window. Over here, start weak video, close picture-in-picture, this dot untrack originating window. How about originating video and then pass the video? Hold a reference to the weak video in this scope so that we keep it alive. We ensure it's alive to be untracked after we close the window. Close the picture-in-picture window. We hold a reference. We close the picture-in-picture window. Maybe actually close picture-in-picture window should do the job of untracking. Weak video. Maybe that makes more sense. Close the picture-in-picture window. We send the message. It's gonna go away. So we're gonna stop. Oh, and why are we passing the video to? We never do anything with it. Video. Originating video. A couple places where we don't pass any video. Here, if there's no originating video and it's gone, okay. If originating video untrack. So let's have two functions here. Track originating window, our video, and then untrack originating video. And what were those functions? I just erased the functions, so what is it? Picture in picture child.jsm. Here, yeah, just waiting for the unload. But instead of adding, we're going to say originating window video originating video.owner global. Add an event listener. Doesn't make sense to do it only once because an unload will ever only be fired once. Originating window equals originating video owner global again, and we're saying originating window dot remove event listener unload this, and then unload case unload. Originating video. Oh boy, we don't have it. It's gonna just be nothing. Close picture in picture. So untrack originating video. It's a little circuitous. So maybe there's a way I can simplify this, but it's like there's some times that we close and we pass an argument. And if we do pass an argument, what we're saying is, okay, that video that you're passing in, we don't care about unload events on it anymore, on its window anymore, because we're closing the picture-in-picture window anyways. That's the only reason why we track that video's window, is so it can tell us if it needs to close automatically. Let's see. Originating video. Then there's the other case where we close picture-in-picture but we don't pass anything to it. That's like in some error cases, I think, where, hey, we don't appear to have a video. Close picture-in-picture. If the video has gone away before, if the video element has gone away before we've had a chance to set up picture-in-picture for it, tell the parent to close the picture-in-picture window. So in that case, there is no, we just don't care. We never got to track the video, I think. There's no originating video. Well, hold on a second. Now that might be a problem. So let's do a thought experiment. Let's say I have two video elements, and I request picture-in-picture on video element A, and as soon as I do that, I remove the video element. So user has initiated picture-in-picture, and then some script on the page removes the element. What happens? Parent receives the message to open the picture-in-picture window, sends a message back to content and says, okay, here's your picture-in-picture window, load the video in it. Setup player runs and says, well, I don't have the video anymore, it's gone. And so then we tell the parent, close it. and it goes away. We never tracked it. Okay. Are there cases where we might enter this block when we are tracking a window? Where are there other places where we call close picture with nothing? Just the unload event. If originating video. And close picture in picture is always called with the weak video. Picture, picture, close picture in picture. This weak video, close picture in picture. So maybe instead of passing an argument, we always just assume, this might be easier. Just say like, hey, do you have the weak video? If this dot weak video untrack originating video. Okay. Untrack originating video. Now let's see if the tests still pass. I've got some tests that make sure that if you close the tab, the picture-in-picture window goes away. So let's make sure that that works still. It does not. Yay for test cases. Track originating window is not a function. So I think I've got an old, yeah, track originating video it's supposed to be. So let's try that again. Great. Now I do see some errors in here. I do think that this doc shell is null thing I've seen before. I think it's the same error I've seen a number of different times. But otherwise, everything looks pretty good. Now I've done a bit of cleanup in here along with actually fixing the issue. So I wonder if I should split this out a little bit. Let's see, track, might want to add like, oh, and I definitely want to get rid of that logging. How could I split this out? The unload stuff, I think, could be separate. The weak video, weak player content, I'll keep. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do HG commit interactive. And that'll allow me to pick and choose various changes. I'm going to keep that one. I'm not going to keep that one for now. I'll make it a separate commit. Keep the weak video ones. I'll make that async, yeah. Wait. Close picture in picture. I'm going to get rid of that. And get rid of these. stuff that I didn't commit is all kind of cleanup. Okay. So I'll commit bug such and such, make picture in picture close, make in picture child dot, what's it called, close picture in picture asynchronous, and wait for the player window to fully go away. Okay. Then the leftovers, I'm going to actually add some commentary maybe here. Keeps an eye on the originating videos content, videos window global. If it ever goes away, we'll attempt to, this will cause the picture in picture window for any of its window for any of its content to go away as well. Removes, stops tracking content for originating video. Stops tracking the originating videos window global. This is this is when this happens. This should happen once the picture in picture window goes away or is about to go away, and we no longer care about hearing when the originating Windows global unloads. Maybe we can add some commentary here. The unload, the originating videos content global has unloaded. Content document, I should say, content document has unloaded. So close picture in picture. Causes a picture in picture, tells the parent, I should say, tells the parent to open a picture in picture window hosting a clone of the past video. If a pre-existing picture in picture window exists, we tell the parent to close it. If we know about a pre-existing picture, if we know about a pre-existing picture in picture window existing, tell the parent to, this tells the parent to close it before opening the new one. Where have I seen this? Yeah, param element video. The video element to view in a picture window. Return. Was it returns? Return. I'm seeing a mixture of return and returns, but I'm seeing mostly return. Return promise. Return resolves. Once the new picture-in-picture window has been requested. Returns true if the past video happens to be the one that this content process is running in a picture-in-picture window. Video element to check, and then return bool. Boolean. Is that the format? Return Boolean? Boolean. Yeah. Tells the parent to close a pre-existing picture-in-picture window for this. When would it be called? We receive the message to close picture-in-picture window. I wonder if we can get into a situation where another tab is requested picture-in-picture and the original tab that may have had picture-in-picture can ask it to close it. That seems possible. We almost need to do some kind of check when we receive a message from the picture-in-picture parent, in the picture-in-picture parent, to be like, here's the last, here's the browsing context ID of whoever requested picture-in-picture most recently. And if we receive a message to close picture-in-picture and it's from a context ID that does not match, ignore it. I'll file that. That's a good idea. To do. To-dos. File a bug to only close the picture-in-picture window via a request from content if the browsing context ID matches the ID from the most recent request to open the picture-in-picture window. Okay. Close a pre-existing picture-in-picture window. Return promise. Resolves. What are you supposed to say with resolves? Maybe with what it resolves with, in this case, undefined, once the new picture-in-picture window has been requested. Resolves, in this case, will also resolve undefined once the original, once the pre-existing picture-in-picture window has unloaded. Sends a message to the parent process to request picture-in-picture window for a video. That's very similar to toggle picture-in-picture window. In fact, it's only called in that one place. We should probably just like merge those. And then finally set up player. Runs in an instance of picture-in-picture child for the picture-in-picture player Windows content and not the originating video content. Sets up the player so that it clones the originating videos. Clones the originating video. And it doesn't take any parameters. Actually, it does return promise, resolves undefined once the player window has been set up properly. Well, in this case, once the player window has been set up properly, or a pre-existing picture-in-picture window has gone away due to an unexpected error. If anything goes wrong during setup, a message is sent to the parent to close the picture-in-picture window. here. A weak reference to the most recent video in this content process that is being viewed in picture in picture. A weak reference to the most recent picture in picture window for this content process to the content window of the most recent picture in picture window for this content process. And then it's not stops tracking the originating videos, not window global document. It should be document. Keeps another document. If it ever goes away, yeah. Document unloads. So finally we have a little bit of commentary in here. All right, let's take a look at the diff. And let's run the tests. Then we'll commit this stuff, and I think we'll call it. We'll call the episode. Cool. And just a quick smoke test. Picture in picture here. And now like that tab goes away and it goes away, and now let's do W3 schools in a couple of the same tabs. Are they running the same process? No. So let me do another picture in picture window here. I'll play this one. Cool. Goes away. That one's still working. Picture in picture. Let me open up another tab that like is going to be running inside 1, 2, 3. Like I want to make sure 701. I want a YouTube tab that's going to be running in the same process. 68. 168. Come on. Come on, give me that 68. I'm waiting for the process ID that ends in 68. What? Are all these running in different processes? How many content processes am I allowed to have? There it is. Okay. So I've got Big Buck Bunny here. Let's open up the Stranger Things trailer. That works properly. Nice. And then Big Buck Bunny is in normal mode. Yeah. Yay. Okay, so that all appears to be working. Close the tabs. Some new errors here about content being null and originating window is null and shut down, but I can probably follow, do a follow-up bug. If originating window. Originating window. There. So I'm gonna say that this is some cleanup. Bug such and such. Add documentation and clean up some anonymous functions. Add documentation simplify some things. Add documentation for picture-in-picture. Child, simplify a few things, clean up some anonymous functions. All right. Let's push this to try and see what the internet thinks. We're also going to need a reviewer on that. All right, let's push this to try, and then we'll call this episode done. Try chooser, syntax builder, Linux, Windows, Mac OS. Let's do both. We'll use artifact builds. Run all of Moki test E10S BC. Push to try. And that, I think, will be that. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 170 of The Joy of Coding. Yay! We did it. Not so bad. We actually, I think, solved the thing. I think we made the code better. Hopefully I spoke enough out loud to justify some of the things I was doing and some of the choices I was making. I know I've realized that sometimes I will veer a little bit. Now, like, I didn't mean to go into this and clean up some functions and add documentation, but I just ended up doing it because I saw there were some problems and I wanted to make things better. It's like the scout rule: leave things better than you found it, if that's the sort of thing you're into. And on that note, yeah, thanks for watching, and I think we're gonna call it there. So let me just switch my screen to over here, and yeah. That was episode 170. Let me know what you think. Rate the video. There's a link in the agenda to rate the video, and let me know. Hit that subscribe button. That's what people say on YouTube, right? Like and subscribe and tell your friends, and just hit the bell or the whistle or whatever the things on the internet are that you need to let me know that things are going all right. And with that, I'll call it. So thanks again. Talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. See ya.